this episode of Mwah TV, I want to share my guide to influencer marketing with you. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be going into a little bit more detail about micro-influencer marketing strategy. But before we get into that, I thought it made sense to do a solid introduction to all of this. I'm also going to reveal a not so secret mission that I've set myself on when it comes to wielding my own micro-influence. Let's go! Influence within a marketing strategy has actually been around for a lot longer than what you might think. This is not just an Instagram thing. In fact, I'm going to be going into how influencer marketing has been used and documented throughout ancient history, but you're going to need to stick around for next week's episode on that. It's essentially adopting the trust and following an influencer has in the world to strategically recommend your product or service in a positive way to their fan base, sometimes in exchange for money or bonuses. Right now, we're living in a time where it's pretty easy to understand and measure an influencer's impact, especially on social media. So much so that using this way to strategically get your brand, product and service in front of a much wider target audience is actually a lot more accessible and available to really small businesses who before social media would never have had the budget to reach out to a person of significant influence to begin an influencer marketing campaign with them, find an influencer who is the best perfect fit for their brand, or be able to measure how successful all of this time, energy and investment actually returned when it came to sales. If you want to talk about accessing the right micro-influencer for your business, then a great place to start with that with me is by booking a cyber cocktail. You can do that by going to www.laurapearman.com/cyber-cocktail. My £500 mission of influence. So quickly, here's a story. Roll back the clock to 2016. I was directly involved as a photographer in a couple of different micro-influencer projects. In short, they were a complete nightmare. I was really shocked and dismayed at just how bad this industry was running, that there were no measures in place to make sure that anybody was protected who was involved. And at that time, I just decided to dust myself off, having had a couple of bad experiences, and crack on focusing on my brand photography services instead. It felt better to me to work with much more serious entrepreneurs who had their own micro niche influence than people who were describing themselves as generalist influencers. However, since lockdown, my interests in this world have resurfaced again. My appetite's a little bit more piqued. I want to see, by an experiment, if it's just as bad as what it was back in 2016, and I want to understand how things may have evolved. So, to test this out for myself, I've decided to create my own little personal challenge. By the end of 2020, I want to have bagged myself £500 worth of influencer swag, along with the instant joy of bagging myself some free swag that I would genuinely go out and buy. I thought that this was a really fun way to measure just how professional it feels as a micro-influencer. So on the influence side of things, I want to see how hot brands are at reaching out to me, how much they check and measure what it is that I said I'm going to do with my micro-influence for them. And I want to get an overall sense of how the experience feels. How does that feel in a transactional way to me, the micro-influencer? Here's a quick preview of my Instagram profile. If you have, or if you know a brand who really wants to try and work with micro-influencers more, then I would love you to put us in touch. It's worth bearing in mind here that I am absolutely not trying to catch anybody out. I am going to be open to promoting products and services that I genuinely would spend my money on to improve my life, that also complement my brand. And as part of that, I want to observe and then document how this experience feels to me as a micro-influencer at the beginning of next year. I've been your host, Laura Pearman, and this has been Mwah TV. Thank you so much for sticking around with me to the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed learning about influencer marketing with me today, then you're probably going to enjoy these episodes up next. Mwah! Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah! Mwah.